Hey everyone, welcome back to another deck idea from Double Sleeved. Today we're going to be covering the red Goten leader. Jumping straight into it, we've got Sun Goten, auto, when this card attacks, draw one card. Awaken, when your life is at 4 or less, or you have a red unison with a specified cost of 3 in play, you may draw 2 cards, add cards from your life to your hand until you have 6, and flip this card over. Awakened, SS Sun Goten, Kamehameha Miracle, 15k, auto, when this card attacks, draw one card, activate main once per turn, Spirit Boost 1. This card gets plus 10,000 power until the end of the battle or end of the turn, whichever comes first. And if you removed a marker from a red unison with a specified cost of 3 or more using the skill, you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards with 15,000 power and KO it. A nice little additional effect if you've got a red unison with a specified cost of 3. So it is kind of pushing you towards using those 3 cost unisons. Activate main if your life is at 3 or less, play up to 1 red Son Goku with the energy cost of 1 from your drop area, then negate this skill for the game. So you're only able to do this once, but we will cover that Son Goku card, and you'll be able to see why it's so good. Starting off, Furthering Destruction Champa, pretty standard in most decks. It's a 1 cost 10k combo. When you combo with this card, choose one of your attacking cards against Double Strike. So we will be going through all of the cards in this deck idea, just for those players that aren't too familiar with some of the previous ones and want to learn, a bit more about past cards. Next, we have King Vegeta's Imposing Presence. Counterattack. If your leader is a mono red Saiyan, you may choose the attacking card, ignoring barrier. It gets minus 10,000 power for the turn. Your opponent can't attack with cards for the turn unless they give the attacking card minus 5,000 power each time, and then you can't activate copies of this card from your hand for the turn. Also have a permanent. If your life is at 3 or less, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost by choosing 1 card in your hand and discard it. Really good. Yeah, we see this in most mono red Saiyan decks. It's really strong. Any card that can kind of continuously limit, your opponent's attacks and have additional effects are usually quite strong. Testing the opposition, 2 cost, 2 specified rest, 2 specified red, sorry. Counterattack if your leader is mono red. Negate the attack, then play 1 Cyberman token. Cyberman tokens have 5,000 power and 5,000 combo power, and that token gains blocker for the turn. Also have a permanent. If your life is at 5 or less, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand by adding 1 card from your life to your hand instead of paying its energy cost. So similar to Imposing Presence, we've got another way that we can kind of play this card without paying its energy cost, depending on how much life we're on. Violent Rays, 1 cost red extra card that we've seen in pretty much all red decks for the last couple of sets. If your leader is red, negate the attack. You may choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. If you do choose 1, your opponent can't attack with battle cards with 20,000 power or more for the turn, or your opponent can't attack with unison cards with 20,000 power or more for the turn. Again, putting that limit on your opponent, depending on where you see the game is at, being able to restrict them for their battle card or unison card attacks. The super combo for the deck, Raditz Saiyan Youth, pretty standard in red decks. If your leader is red, your life's at 4 or less, or your energy is red, this card gets plus 10,000 power for the combo, and you get to bottom deck 1 card and draw 2 cards. Very good. Broly, Crown of Retribution, another older card that we're seeing come back with quite a bit of force. If your leader is red, when you play this card from your hand, if your opponent has 2 or more energy in active mode, your opponent reveals their hand, and then you get to choose 1 battle card with 20,000 power or less and place it in the owner's drop area. So being able to look at your opponent's hand, incredibly strong. We will be playing a unison, so it's fitting to have the limited one King Piccolo, the new ruler. Double Strike, permanent. If your leader is red, this card gets plus 5,000 power, and your opponent can't activate blocker skills in response to this card's attack. We also have an activate main. If you have a red unison in play with 3 or more markers on it, you get to play this card from your hand, and you can't play copies of this card for the turn. And then an auto attached alongside of it at the end of your turn, send this card to the owner's warp. So you are able to play a free 20k double striker that your opponent can't block against, but they've added on that little auto at the end so that it does go to the warp at the end of the turn. For the secret rare, I've gone with SS Son Goku and Frieza Miraculous Conclusion. Obviously, anyone that's kind of been in the game for the last few sets knows that this card's quite popular, but you could put any secret rare in place of this. Heroine's Lineage and things like that. Some of the more cheaper alternatives, even the Gohanks Unison for red, or the red secret rare that we saw from, I believe it was Colossal Warfare, if I'm not mistaken, but another good option that's quite cheaper than this card. But this card is a good secret rare for the deck. Ultimate Dual Attack, and this one's a 40k, it's a 8-drop with 5 specified red. Permanent, you can't play this card from any area using skills, and if you have 5 or more mono red energy, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3, so being able to play it for 5. Permanent, this card can't be removed from your battle area by your opponent's skills, so very strong. Even things that ignore barrier can't get through this, so yeah, quite good. Permanent, during battles in which this card attacked, you can't use cards from your hand in combos, and your opponent can't activate counter or blocker skills. And then we've got an activate main. If your leader is red and you remove this card from the game, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So being able to swing 40k dual attack, obviously you can't combo onto this card, but your opponent can't counter or block. So if they don't want to take that damage, then they need to start comboing up to 45 or plus. Well, not plus because you can't combo, sorry. So they need to get to 45. But you do have 2 attacks. If your opponent's at 1, then you can just straight away activate this activate main and deal 1 damage. So if they're at 2 life, you know, they've got to drop their whole hand just to kind of get away. But yeah, a really good secret rare. Again, you could kind of fit any red secret rare into this deck. SS4 Bardock, Fighting Against Fate, another great card that we see in a lot of decks these days. Overwhelm 6 Dual Attack, pretty standard, it's 25k. This card a bit more accessible now with the event pack reprint. But yeah, overall a good card. Now we see the 1-drop Goku that was referenced from the leader, being able to play it from free if your life's 3 or less. When this card is played from your hand, draw 1 card. So if you are playing it from the deck with that leader skill, you're not going to get that draw 1. But activate main for 1 red and 1 generic energy. If your leader is a red Sun Goten card and you choose this card and one of your Unison cards, switch them to rest mode, draw 1 card. If you have a red Unison with a specified cost of 3 or more in play, you may have one of your leader cards gets plus 15,000 power and triple strike until the end of the battle or end of the turn, whichever comes first. Again, rewarding you for having that 3-cost Unison and being able to have your leader swing for 30k triple strike. Very good. Unison working in with the entire deck. Obviously, we see the artworks lined up. We've got SS Son Gohan, Kamehameha Miracle, 3-cost Unison, red specified, obviously. Also has an activate main for 2 red energy. If your leader card is a red Sun Goten card and your opponent has 2 or more energy, play this card from your hand with 2 markers on it. So you can play it on turn 2 if you go second, but if you're going first, then you will need to wait till turn 3, but still having the option there to play it for 2 energy. +1, activate main, draw a card, really good. We see this on a lot of Unisons now. Previously it was the Piccolo Jr. that kind of had that skill, the 2-cost Unison, and yeah, was able to draw a card every turn, which is really strong. We've also got a -2 activate main, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards and they get minus 15,000 power for the turn. Another really good effect. More likely you're going to want to keep your Unison around so that you can use the Goku in tandem with it. So you're probably doing the +1 more, but having that option there is really good. Next, we see the counterplay for the deck. Another new card coming out in Saiyan Showdown. Videl Encountering Danger, a 3-cost battle card. Counterplay, you can't activate counterplay skills on other cards this turn. Then you get to play this card. We've seen this before with a lot of the set 10 counterplays, not being able to continue to play counterplays after you use it. Permanent, if you have a red Unison card with a specified cost of 3 or more in play, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. So again, a free counterplay if you have that Unison out. Doesn't matter how many markers, as long as you've got the Unison in play. Auto Spirit Boost 1, if your leader card is red or a heroine card, when this card is played, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards and they get minus 20,000 power for the turn. Previously, we've seen a lot of cards that neg 15k, so being able to neg 20k is really good, especially when you're activating this card for free, just for having a Unison and removing a marker for the Spirit Boost. Now we get into a bit more of like the creative side of this deck. When I initially kind of was putting this together, I was having a bit of difficulty on what to do with turn 2 if you were going first and things like that, which kind of reminded me back to Pan, an old red leader that used to see a lot of play. So I have thrown in the chain attack trunks kind of little package in here, starting off with intensifying power trunks. Standard auto, when this card attacks, you may choose one card in your life, add it to your hand. If you do, this card gets plus 10,000 power and critical. We've seen a lot of these cards in the past for all different colors, gaining critical, double strike, being able to restand and things like that. So nothing new there. Then we have Chain Attack Trunks. For those that don't know, this is a card from, I believe, a starter deck from Series 3, so a very old card. Evolve for 2 red energy over a Trunks GT, so the Trunks that we just went over. Permanent, this card can attack battle cards in active mode. Not an effect we see a whole lot these days, but is still really good. Auto, when you play this card, choose up to 1 battle card from your hand with a power of 15,000 or less and play it. So this was heavily used in Pan, and I thought maybe it might give us another option for that kind of turn 2 play as well. Something fun to play around with. So yeah, being able to play it, evolve over that 1-drop Trunks, and then play a couple of the different 15Ks that we're about to go over. Starting off with Yamcha the Lawless, a 2-cost 2 specified red. This one was a TP card from, I believe, Rise of the Unison Warrior, but has also been reprinted in the anniversary box, so a bit more accessible. Auto, if your leader is a red Earthling card, which we are part Earthling and then part Saiyan, at the end of your turn, draw 1 card. Activate battle once per turn for 2 red energy. This card gets plus 15,000 power and double strike for the battle. So really good effect there, at the end of turn being able to constantly draw 1, but also having that option there to pay to activate battle and get up to 30k double strike. So yeah, really strong. Moving on, we've got Ability Unleashed Ultimate Gohan, another pretty old card. This was a promo card as well. When this card attacks, you may draw 1 card. If you do not draw a card with this skill, then this gains double strike. So you got the option there whether you want to draw the card or gain the double strike, but another card that you can play off the Chain Attack Trunks that has a bit of synergy with some of the other cards that we're going to go over just to wrap things up. Next we have Speed Rush Son Gohan. Now this one's a counter attack, negate the attack and play this card. Permanent, during your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1, so becoming a 2 energy for 1 specified red. Counter attack, and then this card gets played in rest. Auto, when this card is played, choose 1, draw 1 card, or you can choose one of your red Unison cards and add a marker to it, depending on which one you want to do. But yeah, having that option there. And to wrap things up, we've got SS Son Gohan Opposing the Demon. It is a 4-cost 20k battle card. Deflect, dual attack, and blocker. A couple of effects there. EX Evolve for 2 red energy. If you have 3 or more energy, you can evolve over a red Son Gohan Adolescence card with an energy cost of 3. So those 2 cards that we just went over, you can evolve over either of those targets. And then we've got an Activate main once per turn. Choose one of your leader or Unison cards, switch to rest mode. Choose all of your opponent's battle cards, and they get minus 15,000 power for the turn. Really strong board wipe effect there that you can kind of do on each turn as long as you're switching either a leader or Unison to rest mode. So really strong there. Yeah, just a bit of fun that I thought, these cards don't really see too much play anymore, so I thought maybe we'd chuck them in here and see how that goes. But let me know if you give this deck a test, if you enjoy it, if you don't enjoy it. If you've got something better suited for this Goten leader, let me know. Always kind of interested to see what kind of things you guys come up with. But this is, the kind of the deck that I first went to when I saw the leader get revealed. Other than that, if you enjoy the video, if you want to see our other deck profiles, they'll deck ideas. They'll also be up on the YouTube, so be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date. Other than that, thanks for joining us.